Alright guys, the message is clear. We're ready to race. Do you hear that? It's time for us to go ahead and put the Duke 390 through the paces. And I just test rode the Duke 250 a few minutes back, so I have a good sense of comparison in terms of the upgrade. So a lot of people would ask, hey, is it really worth the extra money to go in for the Duke 390? And that's a very natural question. That's a question that I had myself, which is the reason why I'm out here, because there's nothing better than experiencing it for yourself rather than taking somebody else's word for it. And I have to say, even though I haven't really pushed the bike so far, just the feel of it, just the vibe, it feels very much like their flagship offering, which it now sort of is, considering that the RC390 also received an update. But I would say that the Duke 390 and the RC390 are their flagship products as of right now. Look at that gorgeous Tft console. Look at that beautiful combination of orange and black. It just feels super, super premium. Make no mistake about that. Okay. Wow. Wow. I just wanted to get into a little bit of a tussle with that bullet guy. And as soon as I opened up the throttle, the bike was doing things that I did not imagine it could do. Holy shit.
How's the bike doing, buddy?
The bike is incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
So I'm looking at more of this on a touring side.
Yeah.
I'm not too happy with this guy.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. See ya. Oh wow. I mean, I've ridden the RC390 before, but never the Duke 390, and I have to say that there is so much of power in this bike that it is almost scaring me a little. Because I believe in one thing: no matter how experienced of a rider you are, you also need to be experienced with the bike itself. And if you're just getting to know a bike, you have to treat it with a lot of respect and make sure that you understand all of its whims and fancies before you take any liberties with it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, because you don't want to push a bike that is as powerful as this when you're just about getting to know it. And somehow, believe it or not, even though specs wise this bike is heavier than the Duke 250, it actually feels lighter to me for some reason. It really does. Just check that out, guys. Just wow. And the braking, I was just making the point about the Duke 250 that the braking does not seem all that assured, whereas no such problems for this bike. Obviously it's got ABS, and when you hit the brakes you feel like a sense of comfort that the bike knows exactly what to do. And look at the sound of it as well. It has a completely different sound than what you're normally expecting from the Dukes. It has way more of a refined vibe to it. And while some people might think that goes against the KTM Duke DNA, I personally am a huge fan of it. If only we had a little more road. And it's so great to corner as well. I ride a Yamaha FZ on a regular basis, and I thought that was the most friendly bike when it comes to maneuvering it around, whereas this puts it to shame, quite frankly. And I wasn't expecting this from a 390cc bike which weighs in at about 165 kgs. I'm honestly blown away by it. Look at this gorgeous console. In fact, I'm going to be making a separate video about this because I think this deserves the attention of an entire video dedicated all to itself. It has a lot of features, a lot of bells and whistles, and I'm going to work with the showroom people in order to explain to you everything that this little beauty can do right here. And just listen to that purring sound that it makes. Music to my ears. Wow, look at that pickup. Unfucking believable. Pardon my language, people, but there are certain occasions in life that actually necessitate the use of the word fuck, and this is one of them. And in spite of having all of that power on tap, the gear shifting is so incredibly smooth. I can't even begin to tell you. I must have test ridden at least 4 or 5 different bikes in the last 1 week, and this, by a mile, by a country mile, has the smoothest gear system out of all of them. It's like a wild animal just waiting to pounce on someone. And look at how deftly you can cut between tiny spaces in city traffic. There were some cops over there, and I was thinking they might be attracted by the beauty of this bike, but thankfully not. Also, as you can make out over here, the bike has really wide mirrors which give you an incredible field of view, and this is certainly very helpful in city traffic or on the highways. Great little smart addition from KTM. The posture on this bike also, I have to say, is really upright as compared to the Duke 250, wherein I think you were somehow unintentionally leaning forward. No such problems over here, and this makes for a very, very, very comfortable ride. What I'm most impressed about this bike is how easy it is to handle, how easy it is to flick around and maneuver across tight corners and city traffic. I was not expecting this at all. I was actually expecting a bulky bike which was a little difficult to get used to, but man, I'm running out of superlatives to describe how incredible this piece of engineering is. Also, if I forgot to mention, the bike has feather touch, which means that you can start the bike instantly without having to wait. Uh-oh, and right in the middle of the test ride there is a cow in the middle of the road. Only in India. So I've been riding the bike for about maybe 10 minutes now, and it is the middle of the afternoon. As you can see, it's incredibly crowded over here, and the bike is slowly starting to get heated up a little bit, and I was just waiting to see how long it would take, and it's finally started. Now, this is not a complaint, this is not a criticism, because any bike that is as powerful as this is going to get heated, whether it is a Royal Enfield, whether it is a KTM, a Bajaj, a Yamaha, it doesn't really matter. It's only the extent of it. So some bikes heat up a lot, some bikes heat up a little lesser, and I'm hoping that this is one of those bikes that belongs in the second category, but we shall find out soon enough. Let's go into this pothole and see how that felt. Well, actually not too bad. I have to say, it takes the bumps and the bruises quite well that we're likely to find on the Indian roads. It has upside down shocks which work like magic, I have to say, because, and also it might be the result of the bike being a little new, but it took that pothole in its stride. I love the way the bike sounds, I have to say again. This is not that brutish kind of sound, but it's a more refined, stately sound, which is a little odd on the KTM range of bikes, but I'm a fan of it. Well, this is probably the easiest bike to do a wheelie on. That is power. That is brute force. So I went over that mud intentionally over there just to see if I hit the brakes at that spot would the bike skid, and nothing happened whatsoever. It was stable as day. And look at this Porsche. Nice. Maybe that guy sitting inside is envying this bike right here. It just glides across traffic so smoothly. I would like to think it's because I'm an experienced rider and it's a little bit of my skill, but I think it's mostly this bike. I think I might have taken it for a little longer test ride than I actually intended it to. But then I missed a turn, and in Bangalore, if you miss a turn, that's exactly what happens. But with a bike like this, when I get to ride it for another 5 or 10 minutes, I'm not complaining for sure. I'm going to take a left turn over here, and we are going to be done with this incredible, mind-blowing test ride of the brand spanking new KTM Duke 390. And let me tell you, in simple terms, it's an absolute beast. I am back home, and I have to tell you that I'm still shaking from the sheer excitement of having test ridden the Duke 390. Believe me when I tell you this, I'm not one for hyperbole, I'm not one for exaggeration, but that bike is something else. Now, in reading all of the reviews, I was a little concerned because the weight of the brand new Duke 390 had gone up by a good 10 kgs compared to its predecessor, and I was kind of thinking that this would affect the pickup, the performance, the speed. But believe me when I tell you this, none of that matters. All of that goes out of the window, because I don't know how KTM has done this, but they have distributed those additional 10 kgs so beautifully across the bike that you don't even feel the differential. And also the good news is the bike has gone up by a couple of Newton meters of torque, and combine that with the slipper clutch, and the bike is just ready to fly off the road. And that, my friends, is an incredible feeling. Now, with great power comes great responsibility, and KTM have not disappointed on that front, because not only does the bike come loaded with ABS, but it also has options wherein you can switch it off or turn it up to the Supermoto ABS mode, which is a lot of fun. The bike receives an upgraded 320mm disc brake in the front, which gives you this great sense of assuredness that the bike will stop exactly when you need it to. The Duke 390 also has a ride-by-wire system, which ensures just the right mix of air fuel going into the engine in order to make sure that the engine performs as efficiently as possible and is also good to the environment. The tractor-like grunt of the typical Duke has now been replaced with a more refined, brutish sound, which I was actually quite surprised by to begin with, but as my test ride went on, I became a fan of it because it has this almost refined, stately vibe to it, which is very, very new for a KTM, but hey, I'm not complaining. This orange monster is powered by a 373cc single-cylinder engine that produces a mind-boggling 43 bhp and 37 Newton meters of torque. That's a good 2 Newton meters more than the RC390. The saddle height of 830mm might be a little too high for most Indian riders, considering the average height of an Indian male is somewhere between 5'6" to 5'7", but if you're an experienced rider, I don't think it should be a big issue. The look and feel of the bike is absolutely brilliant, and it comes loaded with so many goodies. That beautiful Tft display is incredible, and I'm going to be making a separate video about it because I think it deserves its own spotlight. But apart from that, you have that beautiful, incredible LED headlight, which is in a class of its own. You also get a steel tank with a much bigger capacity of about 13 liters, which makes it a good candidate for the occasional touring experience as well, and you get wider set mirrors so that you get a great view of the traffic that is behind you. But then again, considering that you're riding the Duke 390, chances are most of that traffic is going to remain well behind. The bike comes at a price of 2.25 lakhs ex-showroom in Delhi, and in Bangalore on road it is going to cost 2.6 lakhs, which is a little on the steeper side. But again, if you consider the overall value proposition, everything that you're getting as a package, then I think it is a fair deal, and it is, make no mistake about it, the best bike on offer in the Indian market in that below 400cc segment. I absolutely loved it, and I could not recommend it enough if you're in the market for a new bike. Well, that is it for me and this video. I had loads and loads of fun riding that bike and making this video, and I hope you guys had as much fun as well. If you have any questions for me, then do drop them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, if you like the video, then hit the like button, and if this is your first time around at the Savant Life, then do hit that subscribe button, because it only takes a second. And while you're at it, also click on the bell icon so that you can be notified when more new videos come up. Until next time, this is the Savant Life. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, ride safe.